Yes, welcome to P.M.P. Second time I've done that today because me and Terry, for the last 12 minutes, well, maybe not quite 12 minutes, but something like that, I've just been chatting away to ourselves. I forgot to hit the live button. I had a Kerry Dalglish moment, Terry. I forgot to go.
At least it wasn't anybody important this time.
Mate, you're always important. You're back on the P.M.P. That's what matters. Terry Robb, the face of the post-match pish, talking about Celtic. And Celtic victories, predominantly, Terry. Today, 3 points, 3 goals. Could have been 6 or 7. That's the words of Malcolm Mackay, not me. It was a good day at the office, big man.
It was, Bhoycie. It was a strange game because the manager made probably more changes than we expected him to make last week. But he chose today to make.
I feel like I've heard this before.
He chose today. He chose today to make the changes, and I'm always a bit wary about the away games because I think if you're going to make changes the way that he did, I'd prefer to do it in a home game if possible, because these away games they're always tight. They're always in the balance until you get that comfort of a second goal. And today we didn't actually get that until the 77th minute, albeit. Once the red card happens, you kind of feel that's the game done as a contest. But they are tricky games. He made the changes. It was good to see some of the fringe players get game time. Probably seen some of the reasons why they are fringe players. But
yep.
No, I didn't expect so many changes. And we'll never ever know what would have happened if it had remained 11 against 11. Because once that red card happens, it changes the entire outcome of the game, so to speak. So far be it from me to question Brendan Rodgers in terms of the decisions that he makes.
Yes.
That's why he's in that seat. That's why he's the manager of Celtic, and I'm sitting here talking to you for half an hour at the end of the game. But
no, that's true.
I think when you step back and again you look at the whole 90 minutes, there was probably bits in that game where you're sitting going, this is far too slow, this is pedestrian, this is boring. Then there's moments where you think, oh, that's actually good. He's done all right there. We're playing okay at this moment. But when you step back, look at the whole 90 minutes as a package, it was probably comfortable, and we had the enjoyment of 3 really, really good goals to enjoy.
Yep.
Which brings a smile to your face on a Saturday afternoon.
I think it's interesting. Sometimes people think this rock and roll football must mean then just endless goals. It doesn't work like that. Celtic will finish this season with, I would imagine, somewhere around the Celtic average of goals scored in the league over the last 10 years. They'll finish still with that this year. Yet, one season will be described as electric rock and roll football. They might be slightly above the average. We might be bang on average this season in terms of the amount of goals scored, but pedestrian will be a word that's used throughout that campaign. It's so strange. I actually thought today, though, I liked what I've seen from the team. I think the fresh impetus that we spoke about on the Thursday night forum, Terry, when we were suggesting that fresh faces, yes, we've maybe written off people early. Yes, we're doing that from a place where, well, Brendan's going to old heads before new faces. That's a bit of a, I don't mean old in terms of age, like Mikey Johnson's 24, 25, but it's an old familiar name that surely has ran his race for Celtic before and didn't finish it, basically. Now, we're seeing almost the fresh faces getting the second wave of opportunity. And, well, in the midst of that, David Turnbull as well. We could talk about him if you want. I don't know. I thought today we were decent, mate. I genuinely thought we were decent. I think if you take away dodgy refereeing decisions, a wee bit of fortune, I thought a goalkeeper for Ross County was in the form of his life lately.
Played well.
That could have been a 6 or 7 today. How on earth during that 90 minutes have we found a time to call it pedestrian?
I know. I think it's that word we used before. Control. We total control, and we control throughout that 90 minutes, as opposed to you're bang on it for 15 minutes, then you're off it for 15, then you're bang on it again for 15. That sort of helter-skelter phases, we just controlled it completely. And as I've already said, the early decision made a massive change to what.
Well, go for it then, Terry. Red or not?
I think it looks bad in slow motion, Bhoycie.
You're so right. You've taken the words out of my mouth, mate.
I was in that space that we talked about a couple of weeks ago I didn't want the lad to be sent off because I wanted my team to be challenged today. I wanted to see if Rodgers' 6 changes was going to be successful. And kind of when that decision's made, you know what the rest of the afternoon's going to play out like. It's going to be attack against defence and trying to break down a packed defence. So probably in a 6 sort of way, I was kind of hoping he didn't get sent off because I wanted to see how this particular lineup of players, if they were able to get the job done. Obviously, another part of you then goes, well, no, I want the 3 points in as easy a way as we possibly can get them. I thought the lad was unlucky. I genuinely don't think he went out to cause any damage. When you see it in real time, I'm thinking yellow is fair enough. You see it slowed down, it looks bad. But, I mean, everything slowed down looks awful. So it probably was a red by the letter of the law, but I would have been happy enough myself.
I'm there, mate.
To be honest, it's a...
Terry, I'm there. I never thought it was a red card in a million years when I watched it.
Aye.
Then the slower they're doing the replay, the worse this connection looks like it's been made. See if that had the impact the slow motion is suggesting.
He wouldn't have got
Yang doesn't.
Aye.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I don't like
that's when it gets it muddies the water a wee bit, doesn't it?
Every tackle now, every foul seems to be a yellow card, and anything that is a little bit above boot level is an automatic red card. I'm not a big fan of it, to be honest. Did
you hear what he said as well? He's basically said to the ref, I didn't even see him.
Aye.
Because I've just went for the ball, which I totally believe.
I think he was on
and I know it looks high, but you slow it down, it looks 10 times more malicious. You watch it in real time and I went, that's like a millisecond late.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? And like you say, when he wouldn't have got up, I mean, I get it. It's
in another game you'd be crying for it, but just today I wanted to see how that game was going to play out, 11 against 11 with...
Oh no, I was chuffed for the red. I was like, get the fuck out. Do you know what I mean? I was like, get the fuck, do you know what I mean? But
I know that.
In my eyes, if I'm trying to be balanced, I'm not as convinced it was as strong a red card as I've seen in my life. But football's changing as well. And maybe if we're adapting to the new times, Terry, maybe it's just a stonewall red. We just need to accept it. I don't know, 20 years ago was
strange decisions in the game. So I'll wind you back 3 minutes beforehand, where Liam Scales puts the ball in the net and O's penalised. I thought that looked soft. I thought it was two players jumping for a ball.
That annoyed me. And that's how you end up with red cards like the other one, because O's done fuck all there apart. But do you know what? Without being harsh on the guy, I think he's built that reputation up for himself. That he's looking to buy fouls, he's looking to be over physical with the ball nowhere near him. So folk are looking out. I think refs are looking for it. I thought in that instance, once they went to VAR, I went, they're going to give the goal.
Mm-hmm.
I understood the ref's instinct, right? And I think there's got to be, when you're making decisions as a referee, sort of pre-fucking thoughts in your mind that are going to play a part in your decision making, right? But once you went to VAR, I was like, wait the now. You're watching that. You watch that in slow motion.
The longer it took for the decision that I was expecting the goal to be given, and I just thought it was two guys jumping for the ball. Both of them were jostling to try and get it, and then marry that up to the jersey pull. Ono, after about 20 odd minutes, when he's going for the header, and his jersey's clearly being pulled, and nothing. There's nothing that doesn't even warrant a check.
Exactly.
But that's just the frustration. We're going over all ground.
But I shared it on Twitter, and I said, if that's Goldson's jersey getting pulled, that's three penalties.
There was one last week. For a pull of a jersey inside the box. Today's one was even more blatant.
But way more blatant, mate. Way more blatant. It's weird because VAR didn't even look at that one.
Didn't even look at it, and that's just where the frustration of fans is, because VAR was brought in to get these decisions right, but all it ends up doing is get some decisions right, but gets ones wrong that should be getting right.
I think with us, they're almost doing Celtic games very balanced, almost. They're going, it's a bit fickle to give that. I think it's their games, the Rangers games, where they go, if there's a hint of a foul, you fucking give it.
It does feel like that.
There's a bit of common sense almost applied to our games, which folk won't like me saying that, but there's so many decisions I look at, and the reason I get frustrated about them is because I know the other half get them. But deep down, if I was being balanced, I would go, probably it's 50-50. But because of the millions of examples, the 953 James Tavernier penalties I've seen, I get frustrated by that, and I go, no, they definitely get that. So today, fuck them. We would have got that. So call it conspiracy all you want. We should have got that. And Chris Boyd has this nervous excitement about him when he thinks he's got one over Saturday. And what will it be at the end of the game, Saturday? And it's like he's obviously got a punchline, and he's building up. He's rubbing his own legs as he's doing it. You're like, look how nervous, how wreck you are around something. I love that, Terry. Get it right, Runji. Second half, the goals come. The goals flood. Obviously got one right in the stroke half time, which is crucial. David Turnbull again. In fact, should we do it? David Turnbull bit?
Go ahead.
Go on, Terry.
Well, I'll take you back before that, because O had a goal which on face value looked a good goal.
Shit, yeah.
That goes to VAR. Then we get an angle from, I don't know, somebody's Nokia in the corner of the ground where you can tell absolutely nothing. So we're told this was offside, but we get an angle that doesn't allow us to make any sort of informed decision as to whether it was offside or not. You have a linesman who was bang in line with the two players right beside them. He gives it onside. I nipped out at half time, but I think it did show it again. And I think at half time, there was a bit of a discussion about whether it was actually on or not.
Well, this is a point, right? I listen to that Super Scoreboard every now and then. But the Gordon Duncan host, right? He used to work for the SFA. So he's definitely on message with them at all times. His loyalty's still there with the Blazer boys, right? But he said last year, do you remember the third part one?
Yeah.
Right. He said then, it's irrelevant the camera angle you see. The offside lines are factually true. So there can be no debate. Whether it looks offside or not, he goes, those lines prove that Jota was offside. Now, hold on a minute. Today in the commentary, Ian Crocker, I don't know if he slipped up, but he says, I'm awake now while Andrew Dallas draws up the lines.
I draws them.
It's his words. I am quoting. That's what he said. Then you look at the frame, as they're calling it, and the ball is released from his boot. The ball is not... Every offside you've ever seen in your life, the ball is touching the player's boot at the point they freeze it and they take the screenshot. This is not the case today. Now, when we're talking about Maeda and the pace of him, that makes all the difference. I'm not even convinced he's offside even with the lines that Andrew Dallas has drawn. And would you trust Andrew Dallas to draw a line? Fucking hell. I mean, I've been cutting out lines, let alone drawing lines, Terry. He's useless. He's an idiot. And what basically happened, I think today, they gave the game away. Andrew Dallas is drawing up the lines. So when you hear one media rhetoric last season, factually, they're just 100% correct. So there's no point in arguing it. Offside means offside. I know what he's made.
He's just sitting there with a ruler and a felt tip, putting them where he wants.
The commentator today just said he's drawn up the lines. We then see it. It's not even an accurate depiction of what offside means. Judge for yourself if you thought that was offside.
I know. It's unreal. But there's plenty of positives to focus on today's game. So Turnbull's goal, it's kind of what David Turnbull is capable of giving you. He showed it with a great goal during the week there on Wednesday night, and he's done the same again. He's never shy of letting fly from in and around the edge of the penalty box, and he's probably one of those players who really polarizes the support in terms of there's people who like him and people who don't think he's good enough to play for Celtic. And no matter what camp you're in, I think everyone would agree that from that range of about 25, 20 yards out, he's always liable to get you a goal. And that's what's happened the last couple of games.
So I'm going to read you a tweet that I read to David on the P.M.P the other day, right? It's about David Turnbull. Now, people who normally jump on the bus will have heard this before. However, I don't know if you've seen it, Terry, but the vicious David Turnbull cycle. Scores banger against the shite team. Starts in a big game. Disappears in the big game. Fans want him out of the club. Doesn't feature for ages. Go back to step one. Yeah. It's so good.
It does seem to be, because
I don't mean that nasty on him, by the way. Ah, God, it's so
it was last
accurate,
Saturday. Was it last Saturday I sat here and said that he's finished, I don't see him playing again, and then he started the next 2 games.
And he scored in each. I think what I'm trying to work out with Turnbull is, should we just accept seeing Champions League games? I don't think he'll make a difference, right? That's the honest truth. I don't think he'll. See, against the bottom 6, games you need to dig out one way or another. He's an ideal weapon, mate. 10 men behind the ball, no problem. I'm quite comfy shooting for 28, 20, 29 yards. I like that. I like that range. And he is good at it. I think there's a space for him in the squad. I just don't think it'll be what David Turnbull's idea of what his space in the squad should be.
You think his game time will be selected depending on opposition?
I think he plays cup games. I think he plays your Dundees, Ross Counties, St Mirrens, Motherwells, teams like that. I'm not being disrespectful to him, because I think he's very effective for Celtic in these type of fixtures. Out with that, he doesn't make it 11, does he?
He's got quite a good goal return. He does have a good goal return for
again, I think it's in these type of fixtures, though, isn't it?
I know. It'd be interesting to see. Be interesting to see come Tuesday night if he keeps his place.
If he starts in Madrid, to me, that'd be a warning sign. Would you start him in Madrid?
I suppose I'm sitting trying to think. I'm trying to think. Hitate's out, right? So it's O'Reilly, McGregor +1. But who actually is that +1? Because I don't think it'll be Turnbull. I think it'll be someone with a bit more.
He'll do Bernardo again. I think he'll do.
I think that's probably the most likely one. But I'm still asking myself as well, have I seen anything from Bernardo for me to think that he's the right one?
He was weirdly, though, better against Atletico Madrid than he's been in the 2 domestic games.
Aye.
It make sense, Terry.
It's a difficult one. And again, I thought Home looked impressive in a cameo again today. And
Home, yeah.
Golden Home, thought he looked good. We've kind of been here before where we've been crying out for him to get a start, and then I think the last time he got a start, he was pretty anonymous, which seems to be just a reoccurring theme with some of these players who are coming on at the tail end of games and making an impression. I think Bernardo probably will get the nod on Tuesday night. I think that's what the manager will go with. Whether it's what I would do or not, probably, I don't know. I don't think there's an obvious third player.
Well, we spoke about this last week. I said to David, I don't think he knows who his 4th choice midfielder is. I think we all know the top 3. I think the 4th choice is up for grabs.
Whereas last year it was probably Moy. It was obvious Moy.
It was O'Reilly.
Well, Moy, O'Reilly.
It was O'Reilly was 4th choice, mate. Let's get it right. And that, you look back on all that shit last season, that's why O'Reilly has his back up. He fucking seen that, not being a dick, but what I seen. Anyway, that is a fucking job for the boys. And that's not someone looking at the future plan in the Celtic. The guy's retiring at the end of the season. Well, he needs his swan song at the World Cup. I'll give him the minutes. An expense of a young player's career. Fuck off of that, Pat Orange. And this is a guy who also said, Celtic's a bucket list job. You know, a bucket. Fuck. Get you in the bucket, you bastard. You know what I mean? You meet Brendan every day. The fans were singing his name loudly and proudly today, Terry. Interesting dynamic without the Green Brigade there, but they still seem pretty vocal.
Yeah. In terms of the noise, in terms of the volume of noise, yep, sounded like this is what I said to my dad today as well. So he had said to me, I think the Green Brigade must have sneaked in. And I said, why is that? I can hear them singing. I said, Celtic supporters have sang songs from 1888. The Green Brigade are only a relatively new thing. Do you know what I mean? It's as if nobody has ever sang a Celtic song until the Green Brigade came along.
Yeah, Celtic's 136th birthday on Monday, Terry. 136, they'll be on Monday. As will I be 36. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Me and Celtic are 100 years apart to the day. Good trivia, eh? 6th of November, mate. 1887, 1987. I love that. But anyway, you're right. They've been around the last decade. Like, out of 136 years. Canadian did fuck all before, man.
Do I think they enhance the spectacle? Yes, absolutely.
Yes, I agree.
I hope it all gets sorted out. Yes, absolutely. But I think it's wrong to say nobody ever sang in a Celtic crowd before the Green Brigade came along.
Well, I also think as well, the Brendan Rodgers loving that I was alluding to earlier with that sing-song happening. I don't think they want to orchestrate that, the Green Brigade, so much. I think they're still, but we nailed our, what is it? Flags to a mast? Is that the same?
Colours to the mast.
That's not that clue. Something like that. And anyway, I was like, they just don't want to back down. Do you know what I mean? I have 2 seconds, Terry. Just talk away. 2 seconds.
Where are you off to? There you go, Bhoycie. Doing what Bhoycie does. So David Turnbull, I don't know what side of the fence I come down on Turnbull, because when he does what he did today in terms of getting the ball, picking it up, scoring a goal at an important time, I'm thinking, yeah, there's a place for David Turnbull. Then you see him in the next game and he's slow on the ball. He doesn't score. He doesn't really have any creative involvement in the game. And you're then thinking, nah, he's not going to do. So probably where Bhoycie's at with Turnbull is, yes, there's a place for him. Yes, he's very capable up until a certain level. Then once we go beyond that level, then we probably need more than David Turnbull. I kind of just brought the David Turnbull conversation to an end there, Bhoycie, in terms of, yeah, I think there is a place for him. I think he can do it at a certain level. Beyond that, not too sure.
What do you make of that comment from Mark Lewis, Terry? You know? I'm not a sensitive soul, but that's cut deep.
Aye.
46, you bastard. Aye, right.
I'm 46. You should be able to tell the difference between me and Bhoycie.
Right, okay. Let's then get to the signing of the £4 million man. Louis Palma, mate.
What a goal.
What a boy, eh?
What a goal. What a goal. And again, keep saying the same thing. He was on today for, what was he on for? Half an hour?
Half an hour, mate. A goal and an assist. He looked the bollocks today, though.
No.
He's not one, though, I think, that can only do it against them. He's going, this is what I want to do against any opposition. Let me play. I like Palma.
I'm trying to think, Bhoycie, who he reminds me of. We've enough evidence now that he's got a wonderful shot on him. And it's been a while since we've had a Celtic player that when he's about to swing from about 30 yards, that you think there's a genuine chance that the net's going to bulge. There were some comparisons which I do buy into made with Chris Commons. So I seen Chris Commons playing in the Masters at the Bray Head there recently, and he probably had the same pace then as he did when he was in his pomp playing for Celtic. But Commons was primarily a wide player, but he didn't really have any tricks. He didn't really have any pace. What he did was he dropped the shoulder, he got it onto his good foot, and he let fly. And when Commons let fly, you were watching the net expecting it to ripple. Probably then before that, Nakamura.
See, Commons, who you're talking about there, just very quickly. Aye. Everyone's memory of him has completely changed because of who he is in the media. He was shit hot, mate. He's just a wanker.
Nakamura played wide on the right, didn't really have any pace. But what he did, again, was he was able to, what he didn't have in pace, he was able to use his ability to get him that yard where he could then swing that wand of a left foot. And probably beyond Nakamura, you're probably going back to maybe Andy Tom, who was the last player who just had a weapon of a long range shot in him. And when this guy goes to pull the trigger, it's exciting, and you're expecting things to happen.
Excitement's the word. I was saying this to Marc on Thursday. I was like, I don't mind folk getting things wrong. In fact, 99 times when you see someone's passing stats, you know, all this shite that are really like high percentages, the reason for it, Terry, is because they're safe. They're not taking risk, right? I would much rather someone go, okay, we need to do something here. And I think at times Rodgers maybe hasn't got that balance right in the team in terms of personnel. Who's willing to take a risk, who's not? I suppose fundamentally it should come down to, once you're wearing that jersey and you're starting, it's up to you to eventually take charge. You're going to need to take responsibility. I think Cal Mack this season at times has lacked a bit of balls, for want of a better word. Do you know what I mean?
In terms of McGregor, Bhoycie, I mean, it could simply be that this is now the point where 5 years of pretty much non-stop playing has caught up with him. There's definitely something that there just isn't the same zip in his play. The passes aren't as crisp. He probably
is this an evolution season for him, where this is maybe he is transitioning?
This is the start of the wind down almost.
Oh, but it doesn't need to be though. We thought that with Bruni and it turned into a resurrection. That is the thing. Bruni actually reinvented himself, funnily enough, under Rodgers as this all out and out holding midfielder. This is what you do. That's your role in the team. You can keep the tempo going. And I think maybe this season, Cal Mack's just slightly going to evolve. I would guess with Rodgers, he's the type of guy that goes, I see you doing what a guy did for me well in the past. I think he'll try and mirror it. Are people being harsh on him this season a wee bit as well?
I think it's just the expectation levels, boys. I think it's because of the consistency that he has shown pretty much from the moment he came into the first team. And remember, when he did come into the first team, he was a goal scoring midfielder. And it's hard to see McGregor. It's actually hard to see him scoring goals. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's not getting into goal scoring positions. He's not getting shots away. Whereas whenever he first started, he was probably 10 to 15 goal a season midfielder, almost in the number 10 role. And he's just kind of gone backwards. And his role pretty much now is that role of getting it off the centre backs and building the play. Which is what Scott Brown ended up as ready.
He was not that type of player either when he joined us for Hibs.
No, but I sometimes think we never actually seen the Scott Brown that played at Hibs. That gallus midfielder who was making things happen and showing that he had. Brown was a skillful player. Brown scored goals. He scored goals, and he. I don't ever think we've seen that at Celtic.
I think it was his Celtic debut. And he got the ball up the top right of the park.
Is it a pre-season game?
No, it's a league game. Definitely a league game.
Aye.
And he's up the top right of the park, and he puts his boot on the top of the ball. He does a few drive backs.
I remember him doing step overs and drive backs.
And it was like, fucking hell. I mean, this boy's going to be, like, I thought, as you say, going to be a lot more silky.
But that was the Brownie that we signed, because I remember watching Brown against Celtic. And he was usually up against Lennon, because Lennon was playing in the holding position for Celtic and Brown was in the attacking midfielder for Hibs. And you just knew looking at him that he was a really, really quality player. But from a very, very early point in his Celtic career, he didn't seem to play with that freedom and that sort of attacking nous. He seemed to just drift into a combative midfielder.
I'm sure Bruni will tell you, it went pear-shaped, mate. Honestly, never worked out for me. Right. Okay. Who else goes today?
James Forrest.
15 seasons in a row. The only time I remember that becoming a fact when folks spoke about it was Ryan Giggs at Man U. But the thing is, 15 seasons, he's 32. 15 seasons in a row. It's mad.
That's a great achievement, but in fairness, he couldn't miss because of the quality of the setup. What a ball.
It's not that he couldn't miss. He's in the right place at the right time. 15 seasons in a row scoring for Celtic. Look, though. And I just look at stuff like that and I go, I was trying to suggest it the other day. I don't know if it would be at Celtic, but I think his evolution as a footballer has to get away from the wings now. It doesn't work, Terry, anymore. If you're too safe, too experienced almost to take the risks that a winger's required to take, like a Palma would, you have to evolve. You have to change. And I think Rodgers has kind of alluded to it against Atletico, when he's put him up, kind of up top, hold up the ball. There, I know he's not doing it physically like Sutton would back in the day, but he's got knowledge now, he's got experience, great first touch. There's a space for James Forrest. I just don't know where it is, Terry.
It's probably similar.
I don't think it's a Celtic.
It's probably. Do you think not?
I wish it was.
If James Forrest was on the other side of the pitch today, would he be a star man for Ross County?
Yes.
Of course he would.
Yes.
And that would be the case for probably all bar one team in the SPL.
And is there not a bit of you though that wants to, like, when you've got the legs to still play, you've got all the money in the world, it's not a bit of you wants to start 40 games again. He's started 40 games in the season for years, mate.
Depends what you want, Bhoycie. Depends what you
3
want.
years.
He could just absolutely love the club and getting five
Of
starts.
course he loves the club.
5 starts and 10 sub appearances a season. It means more to him in a Celtic jersey than
He gets paid more to do that.
40 games.
That's the reality. He gets paid more to do that. He gets paid more to do that. That's the truth. If Ross County offered him more than he gets at Celtic and 40 starts, he would go there.
He might.
If he was getting paid more than Celtic paid him now, of course he would. Of course he would. I like the fact he scored. I felt sentimental when he scored, but I worry that we can't keep going back to him as an answer unless Rodgers has a real master plan in what the evolution of James Forrest is going to be. And it cannot be as a right winger. You look at Maeda, you look at like say Yang, Palma, there's energy about these guys. There's a purpose. James Forrest starting the other night was so safe. It was like he never played in the Spfl before. I'm like, you should know what to do now. And he looked scared of his own shadow, mate. I can't believe
I think in about 3 seasons he'll be doing the tours of the stadium and stuff like that. I think he's just one of those guys that wants to be around the club. Here, do you know
as long as Terry's here,
do you know
James Forrest will be here.
Do you know what's an exciting thought, Bhoycie? And I keep talking about the numbers. If we get Abada and Palma both in the team at the same time with the numbers that they generate, that's just a recipe for goals.
Well, I think Palma's a stick-on for 20-odd goal contributions this season. I said that ages ago. It was a guarantee. The Greek league, as I always keep saying, will not be a far cry from the Scottish one. In fact, there's probably more of a consistency in terms of the competitiveness, and there's more of a drop-off in our league from the top 2 teams to the rest. And if he's got in a mid-table team in Greece, I don't know, 28 goal contributions last season, something like that, he'll do similar in Scotland. And he's adapted to Europe already as well. He's not having to do the South America to Europe transition straight to Celtic. He's now adapted to a wee bit of European football, albeit Ross County wouldn't quite factor into that, to be fair. But he's going to get numbers. Yang looks like he's got a bit about him now.
But no numbers.
Yet. They'll come, like I said, midweek. See, when he came on, it looked like he'd changed his mindset. Rather than just skinning a man for the sake of skinning a man, he looked like he was wanting the final ball to go in the box. He looked like he wanted an outcome. I don't think we've seen enough of that from him. But he's young as fuck. Do you know what I mean?
Bhoycie, what do you think of Home today?
I like Home. Home's good. He looks neat and tidy. I don't know, man. He came with a big reputation as well. I think folk like him should have been forcing their hand a bit earlier as well, no?
Oh.
Home, I thought you said.
No.
It frustrates me still, mate. He frustrates me.
Do you think he's got any future? Do you think he's any future at the club?
He wouldn't be my future anyway. I think Brendan will sign the striker in January. And I think we'll see where he stands then.
But probably what we haven't touched on, and I'm not sure if you and David touched on it on Wednesday night, but we've seen it on Wednesday night for a little bit as well, was 2 strikers on the pitch.
Absolutely. And funnily enough, Kyogo has an assist in the goal. Suddenly he came to life once a second striker came on. But that shouldn't just be a striker for striker's sake. I want a Gidgeon. And I think, to be fair, I maybe wrote him off a wee bit early. I still think my instinct tells, my gut tells me, come January, Brendan will sign a striker. And you'll see where O lies in the pecking line then, mate. Do you know what I mean? The pecking order, I should say. I don't think I don't think O will be Brendan's answer long term. No way.
Okay, so looking ahead to Tuesday night then, Bhoycie, what's your thoughts? Have we any chance at all of getting a result?
Always got a chance. Always got a chance. We've played well in the Champions League, mate.
Oh.
Last year we got all the plaudits because Sanch Postecoglou, no points. This year it's been about a damp squib, even though I think we've played just as well, if not better than we did last year. But because it's not Ange and he's not your big uncle and the Green Giant, fucking everyone's fucking a wee bit meh. I can't be bothered with that, man. It's for me, we deserve a win in this group. Imagine doing it away at Atletico, setting the group. That would open up everything. It'd be a brilliant outcome. Do I expect it to happen? No. But I would love it to happen because I got performances. 3 out of the first 3 games, we've warranted a win out of those 3 games. We've just not got one. So we need to pull a rabbit out the hat. There'd be no bigger rabbit than doing it against that bastard Simeone who tried to dingy the handshake with the boss. Fuck him. What a dick.
See, they were beat. They were beat last night. I mean, the manager picking this game to make the changes to rest O'Reilly, Kyogo, is with Tuesday night in mind. It has to be. It has to be with Tuesday night in mind.
Of course it is.
So he's not going out there thinking we can't get a result here.
He's not worried about the league, is he?
No. But in terms of this group, this is the most unlikely game for us to get anything from. And
what a fucking kickstart to the season it'd be, the way. Like, if you win at Atletico Madrid away, fuck that, the gloves are now off. How far can you go now? Like, it would be the game changer, I think, in terms of those who are still in doubt over the rat, etc. They're all won over. I think those who want to use the word pedantic and pragmatic and pedestrian and all this shite, right? They stop using those words. You win at Atletico Madrid, the whole narrative changed. You know? So
I know. But as a Celtic fan, I mean, you're thinking with your head, we're not going to get anything. You start to think with your heart, and the closer it gets to Tuesday, I'll have myself built up going into Tuesday. I'll in my head we'll be favourites. Just before I'll be making us favourites.
Favourites right now.
It'll be the usual pish. I expect we'll probably play quite well, and we'll make mistakes and cause our own downfall. But when you've got somebody like Palma, Bhoycie, who only needs the slightest yard to get a shot away, you've got a puncher's chance in a game like this.
We've got a puncher's chance. That's a great way of putting it, mate. That's a great way of putting it. And I do think something will happen for Rodgers this season, like to go, I am back. Do you know what I mean? The Midas touch doesn't leave you. He just needs something of note. I think everyone will be on side. I thought the win at Ibrox, he did kind of in spite, because everyone went, well, we don't know what he's actually trying to do because they did it with a makeshift team.
Remember the lineup? Remember the lineup came out and you could just feel every supporter. You could feel every supporter.
Everyone went, "Oh no!" But he got away with he masterminded that. To be fair as well, he got it all spot on. But I think folk would have went, but that doesn't show us what the future holds, because it was a bit of a cut, paste, and stick job. Now the whole squad's available. Barabada, you go to Madrid. You get a win there, everyone buys in. Why not?
Absolutely. So that's
we'll
Tuesday
there,
night.
Terry, I need to go.
You going? You went?
I told you I was meant to be off at 3:30, mate.
Aye, okay.
I may be my best pal all time, right? Biggest hun you've ever met in your life. Staunch as fuck, mate. I swear to God. But we got on great. It's like the Fox and the Hound, mate.
Okay. Enjoy yourself.
See you later.
See you later.